It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, everybody. This is your Feel Good Breakfast Show on S3. Time to get into our relationship topic for this morning. Now, back in 2014, when Hollywood celebrities Gwyneth Paltrow and Chris Martin divorced and shared their conscious uncoupling method of breaking up, many people didn't understand the concept and in turn picked it apart in the perspective of pop culture. Obviously, years later, however, many are seeing the benefits of breaking up in a way that is a bit more nurturing instead of destructive. Still a very funny concept, but people are accepting it.
Yeah, so today we're asking, is it possible to have a trauma-free breakup? Now, to weigh in on this conversation, of course, clinical psychologist Asha Dullabh is here to discuss this. And we're taking your questions and comments via our Facebook page as well as our studio line. And that number is 021 110 5552. So do connect with us because we have so many questions that I know you guys want the answers to and vice versa for us as well in the studio. So Asha, let me say congratulations for joining us once again this Monday morning and sharing your magic with us. It's always appreciated. But this is a somewhat new term for me, and I'm seeing it being present in our local stars as well. Rob van Vuuren and I believe his former partner Daniela Bischoff, which actually went through some form of a conscious uncoupling right recently. What is it exactly? What is this all about? I mean, I've never really heard it, a potential new term. Can you give us more light on this?
Sure. So obviously it is a new phenomenon, and it's about trying to redefine breakups and divorces for the 21st century. It's being able to, in a nutshell, have a breakup in an amicable, respectful manner. You know, honoring the person for who they were in the relationship when you were in a relationship and taking out the lessons from the relationship. Understanding that you are both the teacher and a student in a relationship, and relationships are there to grow and evolve us. And being able to do that with a space of kindness, generosity, acceptance and understanding for both your roles in the relationship, taking responsibility. It is a new phenomenon. It's not an easy process to go through, but it's really a new way and a new perspective on uncoupling, because we know uncoupling to be so traumatic.
Yeah.
And not easy for many, and it doesn't mean that you're not going to experience it as painful or suffering. You will do it, but you do it together. It's like I suffer and you suffer, and let's support each other and do it jointly.
I get this, and I'm so passionate about this conversation. I think maybe because I was raised in a place where, you know, till death do us part. There is no second option. There is no, we sit this down and we say, you know, this is the end, we're going to nurture it. And I get it and understand this, but I'm trying to understand, is this the way forward? Are we saying that, you know, before you even go into the relationship, you're already thinking about how it's going to end, how we're going to, you know, protect the people involved, protect ourselves in this relationship and in this marriage?
Yes, so it's really about going into a relationship consciously. So we actually need to start off by being consciously coupled, by going into relationships with complete awareness as to why you're taking that step to marry an individual. So often there's expectations that lead to disappointments, and we don't have the courage and the vulnerability to have those conversations prior to getting married. The myth of, happily ever after, that started about 400 years ago, where life expectancy was so short, and the idea of someone, being with individuals till death to us part was obviously, it was more of a greater possibility. But now, I mean, research is showing that people have up to 2 or 3 significant partners in their life. And that is quite scary because it shows that we're also experiencing more breakups.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's lots to think about.
It's interesting because it's a world that we're living in that's changing, and along with that, so do the relationships, so do the way we engage, and I think that's also weighing down on this being such a pertinent topic right now. It's like this new way of being. Like, if we look at who wrote the rules in the first place, we quite question why, when, and what's stopping us from rewriting them right now. So I love this conversation. I think we're going to definitely dive deeper into this. It's conscious uncoupling. It's all about trauma-free breakups and potentially that mutual respect with one another. Asha Dullabh's here to weigh in on all that we need to know. And of course, you guys need to come through with those questions because you're going to be answering all of it right now. But before we get into it, let's find out what's happening in the socials and what you guys think about our youth. Let's find out.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Yes, you guessed it. It's relationship talk. It's Monday, so we're talking all things relationships. And today we're asking, is it possible to have a trauma-free breakup? We're back with clinical psychologist Asha Dullabh to unpack this topic. So do weigh in with your questions and comments on our Facebook page. And also our studio line, the number is 021-110-552. Asha, heated conversation because everyone has a different opinion.
Yes.
Speaking about it, we actually had a caller come
Yes,
through.
so we've got obviously opinions online, and one of them came line, which I think is something we could ask you, which is great. The situation that's been presented to us is that there's a couple in a relationship, they're married. The one partner is wanting a divorce, the male in this example, but the female or the wife is financially reliant on this partner, so potentially dependent. What happens in this situation? So the male wants to go through a divorce, but the woman is dependent on him. How do you resolve this peacefully?
That's a very difficult situation because there's the key word of dependence. And this is already a codependent relationship, which is already a symptom of perhaps why the marriage has possible challenges already. And, you know, if we have a consciously uncoupling scenario here where it's about generosity. So imagine if the husband can then offer kindness and generosity towards the wife, and couple consciously with understanding that the wife has this fear of not being able to provide for herself or the children, financial restraints. And this is what unconscious uncoupling is all about, is being able to say, I understand your circumstances, how can I help? And how can you perhaps help me in maybe time to come? Because our circumstances change so often. We may think that we have things in control now, but in time to come, things change.
But this brings me to my question. What if me, as the person, I'm going through this process of conscious uncoupling. I know that this is what I want to do, but my partner's not ready. How do we then have that conversation?
Sure, so we all aspire to obviously having a conscious uncoupling, but of course in certain circumstances it may not be possible due to various reasons. Maybe if the other partner has mental illness or a personality disorder, or is addicted to a substance, and they need to go through their own individual healing before they can even attempt conscious uncoupling. But it doesn't stop the other party to actually continue with the journey, because much of the process when we work with clients is about helping the person sort of find themselves again, their value in themselves, understanding their wounds, reclaiming their power, understanding their emotions, so that when they go into new relationships, they understand their patterns, they recognize their patterns on how they attach and how they receive and give love.
I'm picking up this air of self-discovery within this journey, and there's a big importance on self-worth and really understanding that, and I think it's something we're going to chat about a bit later, and also the extent of this process on the rest of the family. So we will get into that, of course, later on. As you can see, we are answering some of your questions as well. That's both on social media as well as on our hotline, so you can call us or message us. We want to answer anything that you guys have with this. We're talking about conscious uncoupling, we're talking about preventing trauma when it comes to breakups, and we've got some more answers for you, so stick around for some more of this later.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, beautiful souls. We are still live. Yes, it's Monday, and we're opening up with S3 right here on the Expresso show. And we're still talking about relationships. And today the topic is it possible to have a trauma-free breakup? And we are obviously back with our clinical psychologist, Asha Dullabh, to unpack this topic, and obviously helping you weigh in on the questions and comments that you've been bringing through on our Facebook page, as well as our studio line. That's 021-110-552. And of course, yes, you have come through, Jamie Lee.
Yes, so we have Fuzi Prince Mlondi that said yes, especially when you both can see that you're always fighting when you're together and nothing seems to be working and there's no solution at all. For example, when you're both trying so hard to fix a glass that has already broken into pieces, no love is forced or tried to be fixed. It must be natural and unconditional love. Some can be best as friends. That can be a trauma-free breakup and smooth. Keep in touch and becoming enemies, especially when kids are involved. I get it. And here's the thing that I wanted to ask you about this. What happens when there are kids involved? What are the benefits that you've seen with regards to this method?
Oh, it's so beneficial to kids. I think kids learn good relational habits, social habits. They learn about a collaborative approach. They learn the core values of kindness, love, generosity. And they also learn that you can love someone even if you're not getting what you want or need in a relationship. So there's universal jewels, it's spiritual jewels that kids are learning that actually aids in the greater, wider picture of world peace, because our kids are our future.
Can I ask this? Do we disclose this to our kids, before we're getting into the relationship or while they're experiencing this marriage? Do we disclose that and we say, you know what, mom and dad has decided that we are doing conscious uncoupling. We are in this season together, but there might come a time where this may not work and then we will separate. Do we speak that? Is that an open conversation that we should be having?
I think it really links into our belief systems of marriage and separation, and for every family it will be different, because some families, marriage is everything, is till death do us part, and that's their belief. Well, I think it's more about maybe teaching kids about there are no guarantees in life. Don't offer any guarantees, not even to someone else, not even towards yourself. Talking to kids more around, nothing is permanent, not even our own existence is permanent. So rather speaking around broader topics that can relate to relate to a relationship as well. So it's about talking more broadly, and you can, if you are a conscious family, you can have those conversations which are meaningful, and it's loaded with wisdom.
Would it be a good advice then? I mean, initially this conscious uncoupling sounded like something negative to me. Sounded like a conversation I wouldn't want to have. It's scary. I don't need that. I'm fine. But it seems like it's something almost essential for any relationship. I mean, regardless of how good or bad things are, why not bring in that conversation of uncoupling? Is it something we want or not want? Would it be a good time to address it now? I mean, considering the pandemic and the chaos we're living in, is that going to promote anything positive?
I think honest conversations where it takes courage and vulnerability is the need of the hour in relationships. And unfortunately, we are not having those conversations enough. And if we can consciously, think, why are we engaging in this relationship? Look at our alignment with the individual. How are we syncing? Is the partner serving us in our mission and our path and our purpose in life? Those are the kind of things that need to be addressed in these conversations, and now is the time.
I definitely think it is still a new way of thinking, and it's a lot still to discover and uncover. But thank you so much for opening up this conversation to us, for also just spreading what you know about this. Conscious uncoupling, is it something you can do? Let us know. Expresso Morning Show S3. We would still love to connect with you and hear your thoughts on this.